Finance Minister has just presented the interim budget for 2024-25. Of course, we have experts to decode really what this budget has meant. And, the key highlights so far, no change in the tax slabs or rates for the salaried class and the corporate class. However, we've seen a huge infra push. We've seen focus on growth energy, Nari Shakti, yoga, and job creation. But to make sense of this and break down the budget, we have Sanjita Mukherjee, a senior business economist, Amrish Palega, who's a market veteran. Thank you both for joining us. And
Thank you
let's
for having me.
decode this budget. So, Mr. Palega, first to you. Did the market factor all of this in? And to those who are saying that, look, we wanted a change in our taxation and our
Right.
tax rate, and we haven't really got that. What is your message to them?
No, I mean, see, when you see it from a interim budget point of view, I think it was a decent one. I think the major highlight of this budget was on fiscal prudence. I mean, if you look at the fiscal deficit, the expectation was 5.3 to 5.5, and what she has announced is 5.1, which is great. But then we should remember that with this, I mean, the risk of missing it also increases. So that has to be kept in mind. But then, if you look at across, I mean, whether it's a capex, clearly it's about a growth of 11%, which is decent. I mean, you should look at the increase in percentage of the last 4 years. I mean, we had a multifold increase, 32% CAGR, but then that was because of COVID. And now clearly the expectation is that the private sector capex, which has increased, will continue to increase, and that is what will drive the growth. And I think the focus was clearly on empowering the poor, youth, women, and the farmers. And there's been a lot of announcements on that front, especially on the farm segment. Then, if you look at the sector-wise, it is again quite a lot on the housing sector, railways, tourism, rooftop solar. There's a special fund for research and development, especially deep tech for defense. So overall, from an interim budget point of view, a very decent budget. Now, when you talk of personal taxation, yes, I mean that expectation was always there, especially for the middle class, that there'll be some cut or increase in slabs, so that there's more cash in hand for the middle class. And that's not happening now, but I think it should happen in the full-fledged budget in possibly July.
All right, so now those expectations have shifted to July, Sanchita. Your message to those sitting at home, we wanted a tax relief and we haven't got that. First, your message on that, and then we'll go through other highlights.
I think he summarized it very well. And yes, I don't think the middle class need to be too disappointed, because I think it's a very good budget, good for the country, which translates to good for all of us. The middle class, the poor, the farmer, the youth, the women. One needs to have a little more broader perspective than just looking at the tax salary cuts right now, which I think we'll have to wait a bit till the July. But having said that, what he just mentioned, I'm completely in agreement with that. I think the infrastructure push to roads, railways, highways is immense. Currently, it is 35% increase this year. And there is an estimated, which the finance minister announced, to 11.1% infrastructure push, which is huge. It's 3.4% of GDP. What we need to understand as laymen is this leads to more job creation. It's a huge multiplier effect on the economy overall, which actually impacts your salary, your earning, your income, your per capita GDP growth significantly. Because when you have an infra push in roads, highways, railways, and all of that, it translates to cement, real estate, construction, the spade workers, the gig economy, everything. So that is a big positive. The housing scheme being increased to and allocated more of 2 crore to an additional 3 crore, which has already been done, again has a huge multiplier effect to job creation. Job creation, demand, consumption are very, very important in today's date in our economy. And I think the focus that was given into large corpuses being allocated to defense, deep tech, research and technology, to green energy, to solar panels, dairy, fishery. There was something for everyone, to Lakpati Didi schemes, women empowerment, skill India, entrepreneurship. There were many. What was very interesting in this budget was it was actually very conservative. Elections, I would have thought that the tax receipt would actually be more than 23.24 lakh crore, but it was given as a very conservative estimate. So I'm hoping for very large scale reforms to be announced in the July budget, which is actually a great optimistic view to have at this point in time.
All right. Now, Ms. Marika, do you agree there was something for everyone? And in the long run, really, job generation seems to be a focus area that should have emerged from all of this.
Absolutely. I think job creation, I think, is one of the major agendas for the government. I mean, looking at so much of youth, coming into that job market. I think this is extremely important for the economy. So, like I said, I think overall, if you look at it from an interim budget point of view, I think it was extremely good.
All right. So overall, optimistic, covers everything. Sanjana, what do you say? Many saying that yes, these are long run reforms. Many also are saying that yes, railways really got the key focus, and green growth and green energy really, which was an ask from the industry, seems to have gotten that focus. So let's also look at the side for the long run.
Yes, I have a very quick point to make, which I forgot to mention. I think the proof of the pudding lies in eating it. If you see that the state government utilization of the central loans extended and given out to it for infrastructure push reforms has actually been very good. It's been from 60 to 90% utilization. And even on this in this interim budget, the allocation to state government reforms loan of over 50 years, the Vikasit Bharat, which a detailed roadmap shall be presented shortly, I think is very, very optimistic because, and it's a very positive move because states have also realized that this infrastructure push and reforms in this is actually a multiplier effect. So they're actually utilizing these funds given by the center.
All right. So lastly, the hits and misses. If I had to say the key misses, Rish Balika, but first you go first, and then Sanjay.
No, I think hits there are a number of them, but misses is something which we just discussed. I think the expectation on personal taxation, but then I really won't will not call it a miss. I think it's just a sort of a delay. Should happen in the full budget, which will happen.
All right. And the hits are all the long run reforms as we discussed. Sanjana, anything you want to add to the big hits?
Yeah, one thing I would like to the add to the big hits is that it's always better to deliver more than your expectation. So that's for me that has been a big hit because you don't land up giving very ambitious numbers and then the numbers in July are totally different. Here, I think I'd be very positive and optimistic in saying that the numbers in July would be consistent to the numbers given right now. And
Right.
given that we've had a phenomenal tax collection year, I mean, average GST collections have been over 1.6 lakh crore month on month, right? The state governments have also earned a lot of revenue. So, given that the government coffers are good, the external ministries doing well in handling the oil situation and the oil prices, inflation is moderate. So I would think that the July budget would have more to offer to the middle class in terms of salary and tax cuts and all the immediate things that we were expecting right now. But having
Right.
said that, I think I'm very happy. The biggest hit is the infrastructure push, the momentum, keeping the momentum alive in the economy. IMF has come out with a growth outlook report in which India has really shined. So this is very important and the multiplier effect.
Absolutely. India is outperforming the global economies, like you mentioned. And in the long run, this is optimistic. Reforms now need to sort of be implemented and pushed further. And we're all now going to look forward to the July budget. Thank you. Thank you both for decoding this interim budget. It was a vote on account, as we know. And, we've seen the big hits in the long run. And we've seen the short run disappointment, one could say. But a delay maybe not really something that won't happen for the middle class. Thank you.
Yes.